Welcome to That Great Business Show. I am, as usual, Conall Ó Móráin. Now, we know that business is not a brochure, it's a bruising. And for some odd reason, people like us who get into business, you get knocked down, you go back in for more. Anyway, on this episode, we have found you an early stage company that is keeping 75%, that's 3/4 of Irish GP practices running. And if you're not in the medical field, don't worry, this is about your business as well, as you will find out. Rachel Bothwell is not a GP. In fact, she cut her teeth in Cleary's and in Dunstore's ladies' wear department. However, in 2018, her world turned upside down when her GP dad got cancer. Rachel stepped into the breach to keep the family business going. Since then, she and her business, called GP Practice Ally, has won the SFA Outstanding Small Business Award 2025, the PMI Ireland Under 35 Changemaker 2025, and she is the Irish Early Career Entrepreneur of the Year 2024. She may not be allowed to write prescriptions or administer injections, but she sure as hell knows how to give a business a dose of reality. And that's what we want to hear. And this is Real Business as Usual, brought to you by our pals down in Mayo, Facto Shaving Oil, the world's best shaving oil. Not a beard oil, it's all for all your shavy bits, and I use it and I love it. defactoshave.com. Rachel Bothwell, welcome to That Great Business Show.
Hello, Conall. Thanks for having me.
Now, I'm going to start with a dad joke, which I hope will work. You've got a great backstory.
I do.
Well, tell me about the back, the famous back, because this is mad.
There.
You broke your back?
I fractured my spine.
And yes. You didn't go to a doctor?
Not for a few days anyway, yes. It was actually in the Bolivian...
What are you made of?
Oh, well, I was in the Bolivian desert at the time. So, yeah, it was in 2019. So a year after I took over the management of my dad's practice. I was in Bolivia and we were in the salt flats and the back tyre of the Jeep blew and the Jeep did a full roll and I was thrown against the roof.
Oh,
and
dear.
I thought that it was probably just a bit of muscular damage. Also, it was Bolivia. Like, he was like, oh, do you feel okay? Yeah, you can get up and get on. Okay, go on. We'll go up to these, hot springs later on. And that was, quite nice. But yeah, I flew home 2 days later as planned. And it was only at that stage that I went home, went to my physio, who I knew quite well, went through the whole thing. And then she said, so you've had an x-ray? I was like, no. She's like, you've been in a road traffic accident. You haven't had an x-ray. So at that point then I was up to A&E and getting an x-ray, and lo and behold, I had a compression fracture in my spine.
Is that a bad one or is that an ordinary one? Or is there such a thing?
I think if you get a full-on crack in there, it's maybe a little bit worse. But yeah, I was in a back brace for 6 to 8 weeks, which gave me time to build a website for the practice at home.
I knew there was some which way that you would do it. You have got such a great amount of awards there that I just read out and all. Do you apply for those or are you just given those?
No, you apply for them, all right. Yeah, absolutely.
Because we are huge fans of doing that, because it is through that. I think I met you through the SFA, isn't that right?
Yeah.
And you won there.
I did, indeed, yeah. Won in March 2025, yeah, absolutely. That was an incredible experience. I really have to give a huge shout out to the SFA in terms of the program that is actually involves. It's over 4 months. There's loads of different events. You get really great exposure. You get articles in the Independent and things like that. And then just the community that you get out of that is also incredible. I absolutely love my experience there.
So let us get into the business. What does the business do? You, as I said from the very beginning, you have nothing to do with medicine, except coming from a medical family.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. So GP Practice Ally is primarily a education and community platform. So we're helping GP practices master the business side of healthcare. So like many of your listeners, GPs just want to be GPs. They're very focused on, the health of their patients, and we try to help them look at the health of their practice. So for us, a healthy GP practice is built on smart, strong systems, financial clarity, and empowered teams.
Now, I said that you came out of Dunstore's ladies' wear. Where did the thinking come? I mean, obviously you were thrown into the family practice by your dad's circumstances. And then did you just look around and say, this is a mess, using the F word as well?
So, I was 26. My dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I'd like to say that he is now flying it. He's doing really well. I know there's not a lot of families out there that can't say the same. And, we're very lucky to be able to say that. But
well done, Dad.
Yeah, absolutely. He's incredible. But I suppose I went in at 26. I think I was quite cocky. So just to give you a full story, I'd left my job in Duns to go travelling for 2 years, and I was 6 weeks into what was meant to be a 2-year trip. I was teaching business to women in a small school in Africa, in Tanzania.
Tanzania,
yes,
that as well,
yeah, absolutely. So
how did you land with that one? That was
I was trying
strange,
to decide where I was going to go travelling, and my older brother gave me the advice that if you really want to kind of really experience something, to try and stay for a few months and do something like volunteering.
That was at the foot of Kilimanjaro, I think, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It's a small town called Moshi. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. I'm still in contact with a number of people over there. Absolutely. So hope to go back now soon.
Did any of them go into business, or any of them stayed in business?
Yeah, loads of them. And like a load of the students, we were mentoring them, like past pupils as well, on their businesses. And I think that's where that little seed was planted in me to help people with their businesses.
So you are on your around the world trip, your double gap year, and you come home. So you're thrown into it, right? Yeah,
I take it on, and I think I really just underestimated how big the job was. Cocky, absolutely cocky 26-year-old. Both my parents stepped away. It was a 2-doctor partnership. So I just stepped in and said, look, I can do the day-to-day running of things.
Your mum was the practice manager?
My mum's the practice manager, yeah. And I think really, the more you pull at a thread, the more you realise how much is there. And to be fair, my parents ran an excellent practice. Like, things were claimed, so well, and everything, systems were great. But I suppose I took it up a level, which was using the systems of technology and using Excel spreadsheets rather than paper lists and things like that. So that was kind of, I suppose, where the initial changes were seen.
But you had not done that. Oh, sorry, you did do a business course, didn't you? You did French and business.
I did business and French, in Trinity. And then I did a fashion buying postgraduate as well. So,
but that wasn't going to teach you about Excel sheets and about...
No, but it taught me how to run a business. And I think my time in Duns as well in particular really did. It's a phenomenal experience, and I learned from really excellent people there. One person would be Niamh Cunningham. I give her a shout out. She works for the Kilkenny group now, but she taught me so much about Excel, to be honest, and also just kind of we can figure it out, and we didn't have things like ChatGPT and at that stage, but she'd always say, just Google it, figure it out, and we'll find a formula somewhere.
So you're running a practice, and it was a large practice. There were 15 people in it, were there? Yeah,
so there's several nurses, several admin staff, and then several GPs at the time. We would have seen, a huge number of locums go through the practice at that time as well, just to replace Dad. And also Dad was a GP trainer, so we were down a trainee then as well, which also, would be working 4 days a week in the practice.
So that's a fair number of employees to have to feed indirectly.
And people who've known me my entire life as well. So I'm
this big, whatever.
Yeah. Look, I made a lot of mistakes, but the team in Arklow Medical Practice were incredible.
But so you're running the business, but now you then decide, okay, now I'm going to set up another business.
Yeah. So I did a course in the ICGP, a practice management program, and
the Irish
College of GPs. Yes. So I did that course in 2019 into 2020, and of course the pandemic hit at the start of 2020, and only for a WhatsApp group of 20 people that I was in from that program, I think we all would have lost it, and I kind of, what grew out of that was that there's no support there for practice managers, and other people should have access to peer support like this. So GPs and nurses come up, peer support is part of everything that they do. They come up through college and various different groups. It's encouraged all the way along. But practice managers, it's an incredibly isolating role, because in a team you might have several nurses and several GPs and several admin, but you're the one kind of sitting up in the back office trying to call the shots and trying to bring in changes and keep on top of changes. It's an incredibly complex role, and there's
interesting. The practice manager kind of leads that, not the number one GP or whatever. It comes from.
Well, it's interesting because I set out initially to provide a community for practice managers, and very quickly that's flipped into practice management because 50% of our members are GPs, and I didn't expect that.
So but they actually, are. Some of the GPs are.
Some of the GPs are heavily involved. Like there's 10% of GPs are still single-handed. So, but actually there's still very active GP partners within loads of different practices as well. So, you can see that there was just a real vacuum there. There was nothing out there for them in terms of practice management and how to run a business. GPs, they just want to be GPs and they're not given sufficient training all the way along.
And I have, because I've gone onto your website and I have looked at some of the videos of people saying how brilliant and wonderful you are. You're not going to put the bad ones on, of course, but you do have people. And there were two women in particular that I remember. One is from Northern Ireland, or the accent was anyway. And you'd think that you'd save their lives or something. They did say this. One woman comes on and she says, this has changed my life. Is that right? That's one of them. And the other one, I think, implied that you wouldn't even be working there anymore were it not for whatever you're doing.
Yeah, we get feedback that like that all the time. Like just last Friday, we were up at the Irish College of GPs Trainers Conference, and I had a GP come up to me and saying, my practice manager was a new person when she came back from your conference last year. The support that she has gotten out of that is incredible. And yeah, we have loads of practice managers coming through. So we do in-person training programs, and I have a practice manager there 25 years, and she just said, yeah, I'm a different person than I was 6 months ago. And I love to see that. That's, building confidence is one of our core values. And I love to see that somebody who's, at the latter stage of their career and is reinvigorated for the next 5 years. Somebody who's thinking about, maybe would I retire? Maybe I'm not cut out for this anymore, and actually going back in and saying, oh no, I have a lot to give to this and I have a lot of experience here to share.
Now, you've tickled people's interest by these testimonials. What exactly are you doing that is changing lives and, as you say, reinvigorating people? Yeah,
so I suppose how the business works is we have a couple of different streams. So we have our GPPA Premium, which is our membership platform. So we have over 30 hours of on-demand webinars and resources, so templates and tools like practice management task planner that lists every single practice management task that you can possibly think of, and gets a practice to look at who's doing this right now, who should be doing it. So is a nurse doing something that an admin staff member could do? And is a practice manager doing something that an admin staff member can do? Is a GP doing something? And looking at how you can delegate work down, and then also, do you have a standard operating procedure for that? So it's not a single point of failure. And that's what we see a lot in practices. They're under pressure because they have a lack of clear systems and a lack of clear procedures across their operations.
And I presume because you are excellent on the sales end of things, that you have case studies, and you can probably prove to me or find me people who will say, I have saved them X numbers of hours, or that is valued at X numbers of euro.
Yeah.
What have you got?
So we have a huge amount of GPs or practices that have come through the practice management program, and I suppose one GP practice within a number of months had doubled their income that they were pulling
Phenomenal.
in. Yeah, so that's
was
huge.
It from a very bad practice?
Well, it was probably a lot of things that they hadn't claimed for in the previous years, and things that were just missed. There's a lot of money being left on the table for care that's being delivered but isn't being claimed for. So, we're really
busy or
too busy. Things just going, by the wayside. People maybe aren't aware of everything as well that they can claim back and things like that as well. So it's just really about trying to find the clarity on that, and then the confidence to actually bring in systems that will deliver on that as well. So, as I said, we have our kind of 3 pillars of a healthy practice. There's operations, finance, and teams. So I've kind of talked about operations, but in finances, if people don't have visibility into their business, they might be waiting until November to see, did I make any money last year? There can be money in the bank, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually making any money. And
we've
as
done
well,
a couple of podcasts about that one. That is so true.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the big thing really is that people need to kind of have a real time look at what they're bringing in and what's going out. The wage bills are huge in general practice, and there's, like every small business in this country right now, they're under severe pressure. Like GPs have to pay for electricity and energy and things like that as well. So everyone that's in the business world, I think it's quite interesting when I talk to people and I tell them what I do. people don't understand that a GP practice is also a business. Like they're all privately
so
employed.
And
Yeah.
The penny doesn't drop.
Yeah.
I think they have now introduced a business module into their training. Am I right in doing that?
Minimally, yeah,
Minimally,
absolutely.
yeah.
So,
Never understand that. I mean, it is, as you correctly say, it's a business.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're big proponents of the independent model, of general practice as it is. I mean, I grew up in a household where that was the model, and I think that's the best level of care. It delivers continuity of care, which delivers better patient outcomes in the long run.
As opposed to getting them all to aggregators.
Yeah, like a more corporate model and things like that. And look, there's place for that as well, and there's lots of great ones around the country. But I'm just more saying, if this is the model that we have, we need to protect it, and we need to put things in place to help GPs, because we're sending them out to become employers and become business owners at the end of the day. So trying to support them as much as we can. Like, we have a huge amount of new trainers that came up to us at the conference last week saying, that they had heard from other GPs how they're using our resources around practice management to educate their trainees now, so that when they come out, they're more prepared for it. Because a lot of trainees at the minute feel very overwhelmed with the thoughts of becoming an employer. I have to keep on top of HR, health and safety, finances, operations. Like, I have no training for that. So we actually are delivering that training.
Where are those people getting their training? Will be the practice managers. Where do they get?
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about GP trainees.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the trainees that are being trained in general practice, and then we're sending them out to become employers. So, but again, we're also a big proponent of the fact that GPs really ideally won't have to be managing their practices to the level that they maybe have been up till now, because with the professionalization of general practice managers, and helping them to become more confident and more connected and more informed, that we can actually drive that forward as well.
So the medics can get back to medicine.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, I did ask you before coming on air about moving into the UK, and you told me it ain't happening because different model. But there are opportunities for you to grow here in Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because...
there's a huge amount of work that we can do. And just before because I just talked about our premium membership there, but we also do in-person training. So we have a 6-month practice management program. We've just launched admin training as well now. So
do you go into a practice
No, they come to us.
Yeah,
they come to us. So we generally run it in the Midlands Park Hotel in Portleat. And it's 10 days over 6 months. So they come to us for 2 days a month, and they do a full change management project. So we're teaching them the tools. If you're trying to improve a practice, you have to change it. And, like any other business, I'm sure many listeners would be familiar with the idea that people are resistant to change.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these fellas, women and men, come in to you, and you have to kind of change their minds.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you do that?
Well, it's about giving them the tools and the support. So we do everything from, covering state contracts, operations, finance. We bring in HR and leadership experts. We bring in health and safety experts. And we always try to bring things down to it's not actually as complicated as it's sometimes made out to be. In HR, yes, things can get messy and can get difficult. But actually, if you have these 15 things in a contract and you have an employee handbook, which we provide them with, and we keep up to date if there's any legislative changes.
Show them your...
Oh, well, this is our GPPA planner. So it's our practice management blueprint. So it has all of our annual tasks and monthly tasks.
About 5,000 pages.
About 500, yeah. And I cut a good few of them actually as well. This is a really good quote out of it. I love it. Systems aren't sexy, but they save lives.
Okay.
I love it.
I can see you are in love with your business, aren't you?
I do love it. Yeah, absolutely. It's so fulfilling.
Your baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Get so much out of it.
And go back to you go to the Midlands Hotel, you train, and then send them off again. Do they check back in with you and then say, yeah, this is really working?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Well, within the first 2 days, generally the second month they come back, they say that they've already, got the return on their investment because they've already found things that they can claim that they weren't aware of. And I'm always saying to people,
isn't it?
And we've just launched our admin training now. So we have a 3-day admin program. And we're just about to go on the road with that. Go to 6 locations.
How many people are working in your business, not in the...
So there is 5 of us, but there's only 2 employees and I'm the only full-time.
That's a neat model.
It's a very neat model, yeah. And it's mainly contractors. And
Okay, well, that's fair. I mean, that's...
absolutely, yeah. But we've got an amazing team. We actually just
go
did a
back
team
to the
bench.
numbers again. You've got 75%, 2,000 plus GPs.
Yeah.
Or practices, not just GPs.
Absolutely, yeah. I did made the decision
strictly
last
speaking,
year.
It's you. Wow.
Yeah. Well, we do a lot of work together. But yeah, no, I decided to hire a full-time staff member last year, and took a lot of work, and the contractors that I've been working with, we were all again agreed that this was the best way forward. And I had them in 6 weeks, and so we have an annual conference in October, and the Tuesday, so it starts on Friday, the Tuesday, that girl handed in her notice.
Okay, real business, as we always say.
Absolutely. And then 2 days later, on the Thursday morning before the conference, I tested positive for COVID.
Oh, okay. So that's double whammy.
So yeah, for my own conference.
Now, you couldn't pitch up on the Friday, therefore, no?
Absolutely not. I couldn't. There's no way I could.
What did you do?
I rang my dad initially. Had a little panic, but then
something
I was
like
like,
these lines.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, I honestly, the things that go through your head, like, can I just go down and like wear a mask? Can I, like, absolutely not. Like, do you want to be known as the person who brings down, half the GP practices in the country with COVID? Like, you can't be doing that. So no, absolutely, really what I felt was, okay, what can I do here? I have very good connections, very good contacts in the world of events and things like that. So I rang our good friends at Med Cafe, and they were able to Zoom link me in for the following day. Like, a girl took a day, she was meant to be on holidays that day. She came down on the Friday, and we turned it around. Honestly, it was the best lesson in, I'm trying to get people to empower their teams and put smart systems in place. And it was a real lesson for me in saying, okay, the team can deliver this without me. And it was their best one yet. Like, maybe I shouldn't go next year. But as well, I have to give a shout out to my parents as well, because they'd be down there every year giving us a hand, and they did.
But also what you have learned from that is businesses help businesses, don't they?
Honestly, it's my number one piece of advice to any business.
Ask and you will receive.
Ask, but be sound to people. Because the amount of people that rang me, like, because I put it on LinkedIn, I think the night before, but the amount of people that just contacted me and said, can I do anything for you? Like, I'll go down tomorrow. I'll do whatever I can for you.
So cool. I love to hear those stories, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really, if you are sound to people and you build good relationships over time, that's really it.
Comes back to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, back to, speaking of, you've got most of your GPs. Who's next? Vets, dentists, lawyers, who else?
Yeah, all of the above, absolutely. For now, we're still laser focused on general practice, because we're in the middle of transferring all of our membership data over to CRM, and that's like a huge project for this year. Like, we've nearly 2,500 members sitting on a platform and trying to kind of get a better insights into that, and looking at kind of different practice units and things like that. And after that, then, the world's our oyster. I haven't even mentioned the fact that we build GP practice websites. So we build those websites, and then we manage them on an ongoing basis. So we've 150 of them now, and that's over 10% of the practice websites in the country.
And that is, obviously, you outsource that. I don't presume you're sitting down and doing it.
So I built our own website, and then I built this model as well, and we turn them out quite efficiently then as well. So we've a couple of contractors working on those, and they're incredible. So just to say as well, my contractors that I was working with before I hired, they actually came back in, and I think it's a really, really good example of, again, having those relationships in place. And we found a new way of working that is better for all of us, I think, now as well. So, I think it's just, you have to pivot. I think, it's about, resilience is about, it's not about not having setbacks. It's about how quickly you can bounce back and how quickly.
That's what I said at the very beginning. You get knocked down, but you get back in there again. Because you have to, because you love it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Another thing which is worth mentioning, besides the fact that I've now learned that you are almost a solo operator. I know there's a team as well, but do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You also own the business, which is gorgeous.
100%, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because there were investors.
Yeah. Well, shareholders, I wouldn't call them investors, because like that, I suppose it was just a bit of naivety probably when I was starting out.
At 26.
Yeah,
Give
well,
yourself-
yeah, I was
give
maybe
yourself a break.
28 at the time. But yeah, I gave away more of the business at that stage. Now, I would say that those shareholders, I don't know if I'd be where I am without them today, but there was probably a way of doing that without giving away a percentage of the business.
Did you not
And at
take
that time-
advice?
No, not enough.
That's very
Yeah,
peculiar. Would you not have gone to your local accountant or whatever?
Yeah, I just didn't really at the time. I mean, my father tried to get me to speak to a friend of his, and
And you didn't?
again, I suppose it was probably at the time, I did probably talk to a few people, but we kind of agreed that this was a good way of going about it. But it just felt after a period of time that actually I had delivered on something that was, I always had great ambitions for it, but possibly bigger than any of us really thought it was getting. And, you know, when you want to be fully your own boss and in control of the ship, you know, that's really it.
So anyway,
my advice would be to get lots of advice, to talk to people.
Have you got a mentor?
I have a number of different mentors, yes. And I have a coach, an effective.
Have you as well? And that person, have they helped?
Oh, hugely. Her name is Michelle Ryan from the Holistic Leaders. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, she has made a huge, huge difference.
Give me an example of one thing that she might have changed for or on you.
I have learned how to respond instead of react. And that would have been a huge thing for me. So like that.
Explain.
So like that around the time of the summit, previous years, you know, you might have just fallen to pieces a little bit or things like that.
I don't think you'd fall to pieces. You're not that kind of person, are you?
No, probably have a bit of crisis management in me, but I think really it's just about learning to actually, like, the feeling of fear and panic that will come up inside of you, which I know a lot of your listeners would also be familiar. You get an email,
every Monday morning,
you see a text, there's something, and you're like, oh, like what now? Like, what could it possibly be now? And I have learned to be able to sit with that and kind of, I mean, I do lots of yoga. I do things, you know, to ground myself as well. I think I've weathered enough storms after this, you know, over this number of years that I've kind of learned at this stage now, you know, I've made it through so much at this point that you just got to keep going, and you just have to keep backing yourself.
And that is, again, another business lesson is learn, keep going.
Yeah.
It does get better, I think, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think so. I hope so. No, last year was a bit of a, you know, it was ups and downs, but I learned a lot. I mean, I learned a huge amount from that hiring process, and, you know, to say that girl was excellent, and just, I suppose it shows that small businesses find it very difficult to compete with the likes of multinationals. And that's what she left to go to. It was a former manager rang and offered her a job that she couldn't refuse, and I couldn't argue with that. You know, I was like, if I was you, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
But it just shows you. Yeah, exactly. But look, it did help me in the end. Like, I mean, we did a team content day on Tuesday, and I was thinking about it on the drive home. It's like, why do we all work so well together? You know, myself, Siobhan, Nicole, and Sandra, and Amy. And
women.
We have one guy called Guilherme who does our websites. But it's because we're all a little bit cracked. Honestly. And we have great fun together. But
you have to be cracked to be in business.
Yeah. But it's really difficult to find people who are as cracked as you are, and as as passionate and as driven about delivering. I mean, the girls care so much about what we're doing, and I find it, talking to other business owners, it's the number one thing that they find the most difficult. Like, you care, when you're such a small team, you care so much about the business. And it's really hard to find people, like, rightly so. Like, I mean, if it wasn't my business, why should I? But actually, I found the team that really do care about what we deliver, and they love doing what they're doing because of the impact that it's having. And we see it, and they see it in the feedback and the testimonials and things like that. You know, the GP practice websites, how much those, you know, increase the efficiency of the practice, streamline things for them, improve the patient experience. You know, they get happy patients equal a happy practice in my mind. So, you know, we're trying to
bank managers.
Yeah.
As well. We do have a final question. And I have warned you a couple of times about it, and you do have an answer about who you would hire in a heartbeat. It sounds like you'd be hiring all of your staff, the existing, but you're not allowed to do them.
Yeah.
You have to find somebody who kind of tells me something about you or about something that you're trying to do with the business.
Yeah, I thought about this for a long time. And it would actually be porric.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know porric, yeah.
Yeah.
Why he? For those who don't know him, he set up Aroran.
Yeah. And an incredible, number of other businesses as well. I've listened to a lot of podcasts that he's done, and I'm actually just about to get his book as well. But I really like his approach to business. I think it's an incredible way of looking at things. He talks about, what's the one thing that's most important to your business. In airlines, it's safety. In water, it's health. So I think we could do a lot of work around looking at, what are we know what we're trying to achieve, but sometimes, trying to get that clarity on messaging and things like that as well. But more importantly, I think he would be an excellent mentor and guide as well, because I think his approach to business, it's so values led. We're obsessed with our values, but as well, kind of making sure that you have that balance,
Have you met him?
No, I haven't.
We'll introduce you.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Conall.
Because I do, I'm in occasional contact. He's a Gaeilgeoir like myself, you see. Yes. So we have a little coven of Gaeilgeoirs.
He has a bit of experience in healthcare as well, going back a long time.
Does he?
Yeah, home care company.
I didn't know that now about him.
Yeah.
A friend
of mine worked for him. And she enjoyed working for him as well.
That's a good sign as well, yeah. Okay, well, we'll give porric a shout and we'll see whether he'll mentor you. And then just to, looking out 2, 3, 5 years when we're chatting again, what will you be doing?
I think we'll be in other industries for sure, absolutely. And we're looking...
Off the island, on the island, anywhere else?
In the next 2 to 5, I'd say Ireland. And after that, I think if the right person comes knocking with deep experience within another industry, in another country.
But it can't be the UK because of the NHS reasons, or...
It's not that we couldn't. There's existing things that are similar enough to what we're doing in the UK, but I think it would be other markets that might have something similar. And we also have ties. I could, indeed, yeah, although my French is a bit rusty now.
I'd say you'd learn it quick enough with those of you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but I think as well, there's other countries that would really benefit from what we're doing. And
Bolivia?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the main thing is the community aspect of what we've done, and no GP or practice manager needs to feel alone anymore, which is the main thing.
It's a great idea, and it's a lovely idea, and it's anything that gives collegiality in business, because it is a lonely place, as you have found out.
Yeah.
Did you ever not sleep?
Oh, absolutely. I don't sleep a lot of the time. A lot of the time, yeah, absolutely.
And I don't mean that there's a little loud music. I mean, thinking about the business.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's a constant battle of mine, absolutely. I tend to work a little bit late as well, so...
What are your ordinary... this is me now, see, you've opened up we'll go another half hour. What would you normally do in hours?
In hours? Oh, it can fluctuate.
Per day?
I can put in a 12-hour day easily, and yeah, I mean, weekends and things like that. I'm really trying really hard not to do the weekends now as well.
I thought that you would have learned that you have to take time out.
No, I have, and I've put in a lot more time into that in the last year. Absolutely. Yeah.
More time in not putting in time.
Yeah, I'm booking more holidays. Absolutely, yeah.
Good. Yeah. Anyway, that is Rachel Bothwell. It took me a while to get you here, didn't it?
About a year, but I think I have a lot more experience under my belt, and a lot more things have gone on in the last year.
It's a tremendous story. Yeah. Right. And it's so well done. Congratulations. And are you in for any other awards?
Not at the moment, no. I'm doubling down on the business. But yeah, just to say about the awards, I'd really recommend anyone going for the awards, because if nothing else, actually putting in the application makes you take a step back and look at how far you've come, look at, where you're going as well, and it can really help to clarify and focus.
If you win, you get publicity.
Absolutely, it's huge. Yeah, absolutely. We got great publicity out of all those things.
Fantastic. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us on That Great Business Show. And that is it from this episode of The Great Business Show. My thanks as always to the production here at the Dublin South FM studios, who keep the whole things on the rails. They are Peter Wright, studio manager, and the commander of CAM. And on his bench for this week are Lee Brennan, the waiting room whisperer. See, there's a lot of GP kind of stuff going to come out now. Richard Ryan, chief triage officer. I work the stuff, you know that? Well, it's awful actually. But anyway, Neil Horner, the man who finds the file you swore you saved. And he actually did save my bacon this week, because Neil found a file or an interview that I did 1 year ago. And that may be going out very shortly. And it'll be called The Hidden Treasure, a forgotten treasure by me, forgotten by me, not by Neil. So thank you, Neil Horner, for that. And thanks, as always, to our long-standing sponsor, Facto Shaving Oil, for backing independent business thinking. And they back us. We ask you to back them. defactoshave.com is where you'll find them. it is an exceptionally lovely product. And Rachel has just been given her bottle as well. There you go. So our gentlemen and ladies agreement is simple. We do the work for you. All we ask is you hit the subscribe button, and that is what we call a fair exchange. Agus mar derme golni, gur mina magad fasa a save a geistach agus slán tunnel.